Every good story or every good journey needs a beginning, and this is our beginning nugget on getting ready and getting set for the Cisco Certified Design Associate Certification. My name is Anthony Sequeira, and I am thrilled that you are joining me for this CBT Nuggets series. So, what exactly will we examine in this first nugget of the series? Well, let's first talk about what is the CCDA. We'll talk about the requirements to achieve it. We'll talk about what's on the test. Yeah, you'll be amazed at how much information Cisco provides regarding what is exactly on this test. And then I'm going to answer a question that every student will most likely have, and that is, how can you ensure a pass? So, what exactly is the Cisco Certified Design Associate certification all about? Well, it's this very powerful certification that's going to train you in how to interview a customer properly regarding the network that they want or the additional network services that they want. And by the way, this customer, it might be your boss, right? So that's very important to learn how to interview them properly to make sure you're meeting their needs. Once you interview them properly, you're going to identify solutions for them that can meet the needs of the organization. And that's going to be a recurring theme that we have throughout the course. We don't want to just design network solutions for the sake of introducing new technologies. We want to design networks that truly meet the needs of an organization head on. Finally, once you've identified those solutions for your customer, you're going to actually prepare a design for that customer. So you will provide them with the documentation, with the diagrams that they need to hand to network implementers so that they can actually implement this network infrastructure. Now, I realize that many of you will watch this CBT Nugget series because you want to gain the skills of interviewing a customer, identifying the network services that customer needs, and then designing this awesome network. But I also realize that some of you are also going to be interested in achieving the official certification from Cisco. So, what are the requirements for achieving that cert? All we got to do is go up to cisco.com and go to the Training and Events area and click on the CCDA hyperlink. When it comes to requirements, the first thing you're going to notice is there are no prerequisite requirements. Yeah, there is no exam that is a prerequisite for the CCDA. Now, with that said, I would strongly recommend that you go through CBT Nuggets series on Network Plus, or perhaps the CBT Nuggets series covering CCENT, Cisco Certified Entry Networking Technician Certification. These would be great, let's call them informal prerequisites for the CCDA. Once you've achieved this informal prerequisite or have the equivalent knowledge, well, then you're ready to tackle the design exam that this CBT Nugget series is going to completely prepare you for. Notice the required exam is listed here. It's DESGN, properly named Design. And when you click on that hyperlink, you can get more information about the exam. What you're specifically interested in is the exam number. It's 640864. And notice you can register for this exam right at Pearson VUE. Now, the other topic we wanted to cover in this first nugget on CCDA was what's on the test. Now, it sounds like we might be about ready to cheat or something, but no, we're not going to cheat. Cisco makes it quite clear what is on this exam. You see, from this exam page that we were at, if we scroll down, we can see that they list the design exam topics. Click on this hyperlink and it'll ask you if you want to view the exam topics. Of course we do. And notice you're going to have to log in at this point. So we'll log in using your cisco.com username and password. If you don't have one, just go ahead and register for one. It's totally free. And once we log in, we will see the exam topics letter for letter that are on this exam. Now, I got a great tip from one of my dear friends here at CBT Nuggets, Keith Barker. Keith said, Anthony, why don't you take the topics like this when you see them for a particular Cisco exam? Why don't you copy them into something like Excel? And why don't you rate your skill set on those after going through your CBT Nuggets? What an amazing idea, right? So you can give yourself like a 0 through 5 scale on describe the network hierarchy. If you have no idea what a network hierarchy is, you would rate yourself a 0. If you could design a network hierarchy and troubleshoot someone's network hierarchy, well, that would be all the way up at a 5, wouldn't it? So you can come up with a rating scale that works for you, and you can rate yourself on each one of these topics. Once you hit, let's say, all 5s on your scale for every topic, you'll know you are well versed and ready for your certification exam. So the major areas of content that we'll be looking at is describing the methodologies used to design a network. There's a lot of great best practices that I'm going to teach you to put in place to make sure you design the network properly. One of those things, of course, is going to be something we talked about, and that is how to get the right information out of your customer. That customer, remember, might be your boss. We're going to look at specific network structures, and we'll talk about how modern day networks are designed in a modular fashion. What does this mean? It means we design them in chunks. That's right. And then we focus on how they're going to interoperate with each other. So that's a very powerful design goal that we'll have together. Then we get specific in this course. We start talking about enterprise campus networks, otherwise known as our local area networks. We'll look at the enterprise edge and the remote network modules. And then we'll focus on, well, specifically designing IP addressing and routing protocols. Now you might say, would this involve something like subnetting? Absolutely. We'll revisit subnetting for IPv4 addresses, talk about subnetting in an IPv6 environment, and then we'll really focus on routing protocols. If you're a real small shop running something like RIP, we'll teach you how to design that. If you're a massive organization running something like OSPF, we'll educate you on its design as well. And then we wrap up by taking a look at all of the different network services that there are to offer in today's environment. I shouldn't say all of them comprehensively, right? But most of them. And some of them are pretty exciting, like voice over IP and video over IP and wireless and security services. These are key buzz terms in networking today, and we'll make sure you understand the ins and outs of designing these new technologies properly. Now, while I will cover in this course everything that you would face in your exam per this list, I want you to know that we'll go beyond this list, of course. We'll go beyond this list where appropriate so that you get a sense for exactly what are some of the true network design issues that designers face today that the official Cisco topics might have omitted. So we'll go through those exam topics, and of course we'll go well beyond. Now the last thing we need to cover in this intro nugget is how can we ensure that we pass? Let me give you a couple of tips to really make sure you not only pass this certification exam in a painless and inexpensive manner, but you also really get the most out of the course. The first thing I would tell you to do is probably take some notes. That's right. And CBT Nuggets makes this so simple because, of course, you can pause your nugget and take some copious notes on things that you feel are really, really valuable to you and things that are going to be quite obviously exam relevant. The other thing that I would recommend you do is review. Sure, there's going to be portions of these nuggets that you won't just want to watch once, you'll want to watch several times over, especially if they are involving technologies that are very new to you. The third tip, Let's use that tracker that Keith Barker taught us about. Let's fill out that tracker and let's make sure that we achieve the highest level of knowledge really possible for ourselves over a given time span on all of the various exam topics so that when we go sit the exam, we're not surprised and we don't struggle with any particular topic. So what did we do in this first installment of our CCDA Nugget series? Well, we examined what is the CCDA. What is the Cisco Certified Design Associate certification from Cisco Systems all about? We took a high-level overview of that. We also examined the specific requirements that we need to follow in order to achieve the CCDA certification, and we examined specifically what is on that test. We wrapped up this nugget with a look at how we can hopefully ensure a passing score on the very first attempt with that certification exam. I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.